I'm guessing that most people on here know who you are, but just for those that
Yeah,
don't.
sure. Yeah. So, I'm Alicia. I'm married. I have four children. My oldest is 14, a daughter, and a almost 11-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old son, almost 9, and a newly 5-year-old daughter. And we just got a puppy. So
Ah,
he's so I am busy, 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 busy. So yeah, so that's me.
Excellent. So I got to know, what kind of puppy?
A Morkie.
A
Has anyone
Mort?
ever heard of a Morkie?
I have not.
It's a Maltese Yorkie mix.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
What's the puppy's name?
his name is Bauer. So we are a hockey family. So Bauer is one of the name brands of hockey.
Okay.
So we named him Bauer, and his middle name is Bruin because we're Bruins fans. So Bauer Bruin. Yeah, that's his name.
My status might have gone down with you just a little. We are hockey fans too.
Oh, you
Um,
are?
so our first dog that we had, back in '99, his name was Zamboni. He was
Oh, I love that.
and we have a Beagle Corgi mix right now. His name is Crosby.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's so awesome. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they thought of going, like Tuca and I mean they were naming every Bruin and going on, and some of the stuff was out there, and I'm like, listen, we're just gonna stick to something that will make sense, and I don't have to explain it every single time I bring them to the vet, like why his
Right.
name is like this.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Exactly. So tell us, how did you go about getting into real estate?
Yeah, so I don't think that everybody kind of like when you're little says, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a realtor. There's always a story that comes with it. And for me, I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And I personally, with a realtor, sold 2 houses. And my experiences with those 2 realtors and selling those houses was not a good one, you could say. And I did a lot of the work myself. I was very intrigued by it. I was doing my own researching. I was doing my own things. And at the end of it all, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I loved it. And I had a lot of people kind of in my ear telling me I would be really good at this and I should really pursue it. So in 2000, I think, what year would 2017 is when I got licensed. I went to school. I actually went to the GRAR.
Okay.
I sat in the class for 2 weeks, and it was funny. It was at the time. Do you remember when that whole windstorm happened? In
Yes.
March of 2017,
Yes.
and everything kind of went shut down. So that was me. Like there were days where we didn't have classes. There were days where we had classes, but we were having it in the room. We were freezing. It was quite an adventure. And at that time too, I was also building a house. So we were in a townhouse. There were, the 6 of us in this small little townhouse. So it was a very interesting time.
Dear.
Yeah. A very, very interesting time. But
Excellent.
yeah. So that's really how it all started for me was, a personal experience.
Okay. So, was Keller Williams your first brokerage and only brokerage, or did you interview others? Talk to us
No,
about that.
yeah. So I knew, without giving away names, I knew somebody that was already in the brokerage, but I knew that within Keller Williams, but I knew that person when that person was at another brokerage. So I've known that person and that family for a couple years.
Okay.
So that realtor brought me over and introduced me to Chuck and to Anthony and stuff, even before I got licensed.
Okay.
And it just clicked. And I had no desire to go talk to anybody else.
Okay. So did you start with the mentor program? Did you go into that, or did you?
They didn't
Okay.
have the mentor program. So when I started, it kind of was, Laura Swager was, because I was out of the Brighton office at first. So
Okay.
Laura Swager had something, but she was kind of fading out of it. And then Jared was coming in.
Productivity coach.
Yeah, there was that. But in the beginning, all I had to do was I had to do 4 transactions, submit those 4 transactions to Laura. She had to approve it. And once that was done, then I was on my own. So
Okay.
there really wasn't like a structure like there is now.
Okay.
What is now is great. It's fabulous. I'm also a mentor, so I've seen it progress, and I love how it is. So yeah, I didn't really have any of that. But then there was Jared. There was something else that Jared started. It was called. I'm trying to think. Velocity.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
think that's what
yes.
it was called. So I did go in that, and that was more for like, you have a few transactions, you want to take it to another level.
Yep.
So I did do that. And then, yeah, and then I just kind of just on my own, and that was it. I attended all the classes. I did all the ignites.
Okay.
I did all of that. Yeah.
So tell me, so without having the mentor program, right? And
Yeah.
I'm envisioning that, a lot of the newer guys are getting together and kind of, talking with their mentors, maybe problem solving or masterminding around how to go about generating business. More or less, there's the accountability piece as well. How did you, as a new agent, go about finding your business and getting your 4 transactions
Yep.
without having that program?
So by nature, I'm outgoing, and I'm not afraid to talk to people. So I was that person that when we were allowed to go into stores and stuff, I always carried my business card, and I would overhear conversations. I was that person, and I would, be like, oh, I was just walking by and I overheard, and I would give them my card, or I wasn't. The telephone scared me a lot in the beginning. That's a true statement. I didn't like making the calls. So I did a lot of texting,
Okay.
a lot of Facebook messaging. And I ended up getting one of my very first listings from a text message.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you said, like by Facebook messaging? Like, what are some of the things that you said to people?
So I said that I just wanted to let you know that I am partnered with Keller Realty. I'm now in real estate. If you're looking for, if you or anyone is looking to, buy, sell, invest, please think of me. There's some, great opportunities out there. I've partnered with a lender, and just kind of boasted myself of
Yeah.
being very knowledgeable
Yeah.
on the market, and that did intrigue some people.
Okay. Okay. Because I know as new people, I think one of the things that you need to overcome is the fact that you get the feeling that people are going to look at you as brand new, and why would they pick you over somebody else?
Yep.
Somebody that doesn't have experience. And
Yeah, and that's I've had this conversation with a couple. I know with Brian before, where I always said it wasn't necessarily like, because people are so big on how many years have you been doing this, and I challenge them and would say things like, I don't think you're asking the wrong questions, because I could be doing this for 30 years and only have 2 transactions under my belt. So it's more or less, what is my experience, my training, my knowledge, and that's what you want to understand, is that I understand today's market for you,
right.
and that I'm teamed up and partnered with one of the best brokerages in Rochester that pride themselves on the training.
Right.
And when you do that and you articulate it in a certain way, they don't they didn't seem intimidated by the fact that I was considered new. And a lot of them knew too, because they were my sphere, right? They weren't strangers. So they knew I was. And I think, and I was nervous in the beginning, and I asked a lot of questions and all that kind of stuff too. But I think at the end of the transaction, they felt confident in me. And even though I was shaking the entire time, but they felt confident in me. So they ended up like referring me out, and that's how that all got started. Relationships.
Yep, exactly. So your first year in the business, about how many transactions did you do?
Oof, I don't know. I don't know how many transactions I did. I know the volume.
Okay, that's fine.
I remember the volume. So the volume, I think I was around 700,000 to 800,000.
Okay.
Was my first year.
Okay. And then talk to us about, how that has progressed along the way, now that you're a couple years in.
So I really had a drive in me that just, I wanted to cap so bad. I wanted to cap. I wanted to experience it. I was seeing it all around me, and I wanted it. And so I just worked. I was lead generating. I was attending all the classes. I was doing everything. I was showing homes for other agents. I was gaining as much experience as I possibly could. And over time, I found myself, I can't even pinpoint and say, oh, this one thing did it. But just over time, I grew, and then I capped in my my second year. So I reset in May. So I capped in December.
Okay.
Right at the end of December. And that was my goal. My goal was to cap by the end of the year, because I wanted to experience January, February, March, April, what that was like. And that was a glorious time. So I plan on doing that again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome. Good job, girl.
Thanks.
So, okay, you mentioned that you are a mentor in the launch program. How many people
Oh, you froze.
do you oversee?
You're freezing.
How many people do you oversee?
I have 3.
You have 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you do with those 3 people in the program.
Yeah. So I guide. It's a guidance, kind of a little bit of a hand holding a little bit, and walking them through all the steps to obtain a transaction, walking them through the actual transaction, closing the transaction, the follow-up, helping them not just with the paperwork part and the actual transaction part, but also on building that relationship and nurturing that relationship. Okay. Because that is super important, because you can, in my opinion, you don't really want transactions, you want relationships. Because if you have a transaction, that's good and dandy, and you'll get paid for that transaction, but then they're going to move on, and you're going to move on, and they're never going to think of you again, and that's it. But if you build those relationships, then they actually start working for you. And you get referrals. Right. And then your phone starts ringing. So I really hound, and I say it over and over again, on building those relationships. Okay. So that's what I do for my mentors, and like every mentor does it differently, because everybody has their own style, right? And so there is no like right or wrong way on doing something. It's finding your niche and finding what works for you, and that is what's worked for me. So that's what I try to teach. Okay.
So what do you think your biggest takeaway is from being able to mentor somebody? How do you feel like that helps you in your business?
Accountability.
Okay.
On not just telling them what to do, but also me doing it too, because I know, I'm not perfect, and I know there are things that I could be doing that would better my business and better practice. I have some bad habits, and So when I have a mentee that will ask me a question and I'll reply, and I always reply with what I would do. And then I know, well, maybe that's not really the right way. So then I say that and I'm like, this is how you should be doing it. So it almost is like, okay, I'm not doing it the right way. This is really how you should be doing it, And so there's a lot of accountability to that. And I love the newer agents and how they think. It refreshes you. You become
Sure.
more, because you get stuck into a routine and you get stuck in new ways. And so they have questions that are things that I've never thought of before.
Sure.
And so it challenges me to be like, oh, how would I handle that? Or they might be in a transaction that I've never experienced.
Right.
So I learned from that transaction as well. So
Sure.
yeah, that's
So in
kind
a
of what I get
sense,
out
you're
of it.
getting to mastermind. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? And feed off of these new people that have great ideas and,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know. So you mentioned habits. Can you give me just a handful of habits that you encourage your people to get into? Like, what are some of those things that you feel are good habits? Things that people should be
Yeah.
doing on a daily or weekly basis?
Good habits for me is always talking about real estate, always bringing it up, always make it known. I was saying this yesterday when I did my real life mastermind is, I can, be somewhere, at a party or, a get together, something, and, I'll see, oh, that house, I saw a house just like that on the market. I may not have seen that house just like that on the market, but I'm going to bring that up, and it starts talking about real estate, because later on that day or the following day, a conversation may get brought up and they're immediately going to think, I hope, is that they're going to think of me. Oh, you know what? I was just having a conversation, with Elicia. She's a realtor. You should give her a call. She really seemed to know what was going on in today's market and stuff. And so I always try to bring it up. I bring it up to strangers. Any contact that I have with somebody, I'm always bringing it up. So that's a habit that I've always done. And social media.
Okay.
Always connecting on social media with
Okay.
people.
So do you use Facebook
Yes,
or Instagram or both?
I use both. I use both. I don't really see a whole lot come from Instagram, but Instagram I've always just done. I started a hashtag Elicia Guntrum real estate. So anytime I have a real estate post on Facebook, I also attach it to Instagram. So then if you go hashtag Elicia Guntrum on Instagram, you'll see all my posts that I've made since I first started doing this, which I don't remember when. And you don't never know. Somebody may come across it. I might get some new requests, and I do find a little bit of that. I find more, honestly, like contractors, that try to friend request me and stuff like that on Instagram. But on Facebook, I'm just always inserting myself in people's lives. So it's like, if they post something, I will comment underneath it. I just always make comments, and I always am just kind of making myself there.
Okay.
And I seem to find that works, because I've had a lot of business off of Facebook, like a lot of like my kids' sports families, people I went to high school with, so I get a lot of that. So I encourage that a lot.
Very cool. So do you do that on your, I guess you really can't do that on your business page, can you? Do you comment that?
No, I do it on
It's all
I
private.
do it on my personal. I just started my business page, honestly. I think maybe the beginning of this year. Like, I didn't do it before. I didn't do a business page. I just did everything on my personal. So I'm trying to get into a better habit of utilizing my business page more.
Okay.
But I'm guilty of not doing that. I'll make a post and then I'll share it to like my personal, because I'm still trying to get more people to like it. But
Right.
every now and then I'll get like, people will tag me sometimes for other statuses, and then I'll get notifications that somebody else liked my business page. Oh, you have a one new like, a one, you know, and stuff. And so I'm seeing that there are some people that I don't personally know that are starting to like it. So it's growing. It's just, it takes time. You're not going to get that instant, you know, gratification. And I know that. So I'm just being patient with it and just keep doing the same things, and hopefully we'll see the end results of it. Oh, she's frozen again. Kim. Let's see.
It's kind of funny.
I know. Oh, she had to get off. She's going to log back on. Well,
So
while she's, yeah.
what was the first time you capped? Within your first year?
Second.
Second year.
Yeah, second year.
What's the average price of the house you sell? Buyer or seller?
Yeah.
I mean, roughly.
I honestly, I haven't done to see exactly what my average price point is, but I would probably have to say it's probably around between 160 to 200. I work a lot in more of the suburbs.
Right.
So yeah, in the higher price points.
Yeah.
And that's just because of Sphere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually met with you, Ivan.
Yeah, I remember talking.
Yes. Yeah. So when I first got started, I think that's when you were going to go, where were you going, to Puerto Rico or something?
Yeah, I was attending graduate school in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you were looking for, it's when I first got started, and
Yep.
you were looking for an agent to refer some business to and stuff, and you were interviewing at that coffee shop.
Yeah, and I was looking for people that spoke Spanish too.
Right. Yeah, which I understand more than I speak. But yeah, no, I'm not fluent on that.
That first year, I referred more business out, but then it kind of trickled out.
Yeah.
Like that first year, I think I did 8,000 in referral income.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm back, and I'm here. So
Yeah, you're here.
I'm looking to pay, my GRA dues in the next couple of days, and just jumping in. So
Yeah, well, good.
as a new agent,
As in,
there she
no.
is.
There you are.
I took over for you, Kim.
He did. He did.
Thank you. My internet went out. It had to be reset or something. So
No, that's okay.
I'm like trying to figure out how to get on my phone. I'm like,
Oh, you're back. That was a quick bit. You got on quick.
so what did I miss, Ivan?
We talked about her average price.
Okay.
We talked
Which
about
I admitted I didn't really know.
yeah, but your price point. I mean, it's
But
Yeah.
I know my price point area, yeah, that I kind of am at. And that's pretty,
Okay.
yeah, that was pretty much it.
and we talked about the fact that I had talked to Elicia, I guess her first year in, because I was looking for folks to refer business to and for somebody who's bilingual. So we were just reminiscing about that.
Yeah, yeah, I met with him. So that's how I was my very first year. Was if somebody needed a house to be shown, you needed help in your business, you needed, I was that person immediately. I was contacting you because I just was wanting to get as much knowledge and experience as possible.
Yep.
And quite honestly, guys, I'm seeing a common thread here. So we've got an agent out of our Brighton office, Jeffrey Lamica, who has done the same thing as you, Elicia. He has made himself known. He has come into the office like daily, and he is that person that on that Facebook page jumps in and is the first person to reach out to try to, show a house for somebody or grab an open house when we were able to do them. So I think, like you said, it's really just a matter of getting your name out there, getting others to know who you are, so that, if by chance somebody has a property that they need held open and they're not able to do it, they'll go to you first. Or, maybe they have too many buyers and can't take on somebody new, so they're happy to refer them to you because you've put in the time and you've built that
Yeah.
relationship.
And
So
that's exactly what I did. And I saw Lynn just popped on. Hi, Lynn. And that was Lynn. I reached out to Lynn a lot, and then Lynn ended up reaching out to me. I did with like PK. There were certain top agents that I had my eye on. Like, if you need help with anything, and it just, and that's the biggest takeaway, guys, is that it takes time. You're not going to see it right away, but it just takes time. You put in the work, you do all the steps, you do all that kind of stuff, and before you know it, it's there. And then somebody's asking you, how did you do it? And you're like, oh. And so I really had to think about how it is that I got to where I was at. And really that was it, was just maintaining those relationships and constantly talking about real estate and constantly inserting myself into people's lives.
Right. Alicia, the stalker.
I am. Oh, I always say it. I'm a stage 5 Facebook stalker.
I love it.
5 people. Because I'm not, and that's the other part, is I'm not afraid. I've gained a lot of business reaching out to strangers on Facebook, instant messaging them, and I worded a certain way, because I try to think of, like, if I were to receive a message like this, would I respond? So I try to write as though I was talking. Okay. And, and I write it that way. And then I always add like a smiley face to the end, like, see, I'm friendly, I'm really nice. And they respond back to me. And I've gained a lot of business that way, and then once you do that, it's just talking to them on the phone, then going to their house. And I shared a story how I obtained a listing that way and a buy from that, and they were like, oh no, we're not doing anything for a year. And I was like, oh, it's okay, I still want to come over. And they ended up listing their house in 2 months.
I love it.
And then they listed it in 2 months. So I mean, it works. If they say that, don't say, oh, okay, well, we'll talk in a year. Not like, no, let's still get together. Let's just see, let's talk now.
Let's game plan.
Yes, exactly. Let's set up, what the steps we're going to take each month to get you where you need to get. And then before you know it, they may just say, okay, well, I guess we'll do it now. Because people don't know what they don't know.
Right. Very true.
Yeah.
So how has COVID changed your business, if at all? Or changed what you do or how you do it?
Yeah, so so when COVID hit, at the very beginning, I wasn't going to let it stop me. I was like, I'm still going to keep doing what I've been doing. So I had the same habits minus the showings and, that kind of stuff. But I was still, I still had some business that was, still going through. So, but I just kept doing my same things. When did this all hit? Like March. So I'd probably say maybe April, I went into a little kind of lull, I guess you could say, where I kind of was having this, what's the point? Why I don't want to do this anymore. It's just, so I took a couple weeks, maybe 3, of just kind of, I don't know, having a little tantrum, I guess, just frustrated with everything. And then it's being around all of you and attending, the online classes and attending, and talking to people, that it just kind of, it motivates you back up again. And that's why I started that real life realtor stuff, was to try to just keep you going. Doing that got me going again. So since May, I've just been doing everything again, all the same kind of things, reaching out, utilizing Facebook a lot. What's changed for me is I'm no longer doing open houses.
Right.
I know that I can. I'm just choosing not to, at this point. More for if I were, I thought about maybe I would do it if I had somebody with me. I just more for my personal safety, being a woman, and just the way the world is right now, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So that's more or less why. But I've been thinking, well, what if I, were to team up with, somebody else and do it that way? But I don't have my listings right now or under contract. So I'll see what the next listing is like and go from there. But that's really the only thing that's changed is
Gotcha.
the open houses.
Gotcha. So if you had to, I don't know, predict the future, where would you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think about that all the time. I really do. Like, I think about, I would love to have a team.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to, you know what I'd love to have? I would love to have an admin. That's what I would love to have, because I am not a paperwork person. So I'm more like, let's get out there and do that and then have someone else do the work. So I would love to, have a team, join forces with somebody and start something. I want to be bigger. Obviously,
Right.
I want to be bigger. I just don't know what that looks like.
Right.
And stuff like that. But I've got to keep going on the path that I've been doing, and it'll get there. It'll get there, and then it'll show itself as more as what it will look like. But obviously, I want to keep growing and be bigger and be able to leverage more so that we can, I don't have to work as hard and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be ideal.
There you go. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask people to unmute themselves. I know, Ivan, you were able to step in. Do you have any questions for Elicia, things that you've been wondering? Anybody else on the call? Nothing like putting you on the spot.
I know.
No, I think, for me, I'm sort of coming at this from the opposite end of Alicia, in that, I've been licensed since the mid 90s. I've been away for 3.5 years. And, I want to have the mindset of a beginner at this point. And I'm also looking to make this really big. And the things that Elicia talks about in terms of how she did the business, when you were starting and all that, I mean, that's kind of how I tend to be, want to be. So for me, it's just a question of, listening to somebody who's doing it, because I want to cap. I want to be productive. I want to make things happen. Tony Robbins uses the expression, what is it? Taking massive action.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you've done. And that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
So, that's where my mindset is at. So it's not so much a question, but just a reflection of, where you're at.
Sure.
But
So
with
it's very
experience,
easy. I mean, we all have our phones near us, right? How many of you have your phones near you right now? It's so easy, right? It's so easy if you're just sitting here, you're watching TV, you're laying out in the sun, to just throw a couple text messages, to go on Facebook and comment on some stuff, say something about, the market so you look knowledgeable. And it's those little things, and people respond to it.
yeah.
Right. So true. So
Yeah.
true.
So
I think,
make a habit of it.
yeah. Yeah. So how do you manage your day with your 4 children?
That's a good question.
There's where the leverage comes into play, right?
Yeah. So I am a multitask. I'm a multitasker by nature. I've always done it. So I have been known to be on the phone with lenders as I'm scrubbing toilets, and I don't, that's what I do. I'll be on the phone with clients as I'm cooking. I just do it. I'm able to tune it out. Everybody always says that to me. Like, if I have like a telemarketer call me or something like that, they can hear like the kids like in the background. They're like, do you need to go? And I'm like, no, like what? I don't understand. I'm able to tune it out. So
Right.
unless you're coming over to me bleeding, you know, yeah, I just tune it out. I let the kids know if I have something important going on. But I need to do better. I do need to do better at actual time blocking and getting into a routine and a schedule and stuff. I had that before COVID. So now it's kind of just a free for all, and I just do it when I can do it. And that's why I just say it's just so easy. I'll just sit there on my phone, and like I'm taking my daughters to the orthodontist today at 2:00, and I'm gonna have my phone and I'm gonna just start doing some things while I'm just sitting there in the office.
Yeah.
So I just like to feel that I'm doing something every day that is real estate related.
Sure.
And then there's a sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's
these calls are just awesome. I love talking to each and every one of you because I just think everybody does have their own story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets started in this business in a different place in their life, or they'll have a certain experience that causes that scale to tip and them to take the leap finally to get their license and so on and so forth. And then it's just amazing to me at you know, the different things that everybody finds to create business and so on and so forth. So, you know, I love that these calls are just lighthearted and just, you know, let's chit chat and, you know, so.
Well, that's the whole thing is like you know, we're all people. There is no, you know, guidance in saying, oh, if you do A, B, C, D, and E, then this will, you know, like we all have our own story as to how our business gets started. And I think that when you attach yourself to people that are kind of like you in a sense, and your personality and how you do business, and it works. And that's what I did.
Right.
You know, and it just and it worked because somebody else might do something differently and it may not be the way that you do it. And so I'm really big on doing what fits your personality. Be authentic, be genuine, don't be something that you're not, because that will hurt you, because you won't gain those relationships, and people can see through the BS. You know, so so try not to do that and just be real and authentic, and those relationships and that trust happens, and it explodes after that.
Yeah, absolutely right. Anybody have anything else for Elicia? I see Brian is saying thanks for sharing. Congrats on your success. To date, I have to run on an appointment. So, and then Rita is asking Ivan for his email address. She needs your digits.
It's Ivan Ramos at kw.com. Would love to hear from you.
Anybody have anything else for her?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us this morning. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right. And have a happy 4th of July.
You too. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye. Take care.
Thanks, Elicia.
Bye-bye.